Hey everyone, I'm Anna Berry.
And I'm Tom Bielkini.
And this is Behind the Scenes Oklahoma. Erin Elizabeth Cook, and you were the writer of the one, writer and producer?
Yeah, I'm the screenwriter. I'm the original producer, that started the whole project almost 3 years ago now. And I also have a major supporting acting role in it as well. So I wear many hats. Yes.
Well, Erin, I am Tom Bielkini, and we are with Behind the Scenes Oklahoma. And of course, you know Anna Berry. And
we had so much fun. Thank you for coming out.
And I am so sorry I was not in Enid. I was out of town when you guys did that little trip, so I was unable to make it. But I saw the video and I heard it was awesome. So thank you for having us.
No, absolutely. Thank you. I think you're just using that as an excuse. You just wanted to get away from the bad weather, right? We were like,
I think you were in Notre Dame, so the weather was pretty bad up there too, right?
Jackson Hole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes, it was cold, but it was supposed to be cold.
Yeah, you were prepared for it.
Yeah.
It was really gracious of Erin to let us on set. I think it was the coldest day in our winter of this year. And also everyone's on set, everyone's focused. And you also had kind of a big heavy hitter just sitting there like Martin Sheen, literally just sitting there in that cafe. So it made me a little nervous too.
I know. It's crazy. I mean, it's Martin Sheen, right? And so... yeah, I just stopped because I'm like, it's Martin Sheen. I still look back and I'm like, how did this even happen? Like 4 months ago, I wasn't imagining that Martin Sheen was going to have this role, but it was destined to be, But Martin is truly an icon, but he's so down to earth. Like, I'm sure you got to chat with him just a little bit or hear him say hello. But, he's telling us stories about, these icons. And he's like, do you know Marlon? I'm like, Marlon Brando? No, I can't about Brady. You know what I mean? And he's like, one time when I was looking over and I saw John Lennon, I'm like, man, I want to meet this legend. And I'm sitting here looking at a legend, telling us all these fun stories about how he had met legends. And it was just like a full circle experience. Martin Sheen is not just a legend, he's leaving a legacy behind. Like some of the things I want to tell you guys about Martin, whenever he checked into his hotel in Oklahoma City, he called to give me some trouble because he's like, Erin, thanks for putting me in the presidential suite. And I was like, what? I didn't put you in the presidential suite, Martin. Sometimes they just do that if you're like the most important person in the hotel. Like I didn't do it. And he's like, well, I went downstairs and immediately checked out of my room into a regular size room. There was entirely too much room in there for me. And he was like, and also I don't want to have a hoity-toity dinner. He's like, I want to eat some diner garbage food. So he literally snuck me and our assistant out, and we went to Boomerang Diner and had some greasy diner food. And he said it was the best time of his life. That's Martin Sheen.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I've never had that problem in a hotel before.
I know. I'm usually the opposite. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think a lot of our viewers who might be filmmakers might go, how did she get Martin Sheen in the first place? And I want to know, how did you get him?
Yeah. So, honestly, I truly feel blessed, and I truly believe that, God plays a big part of my life and in this movie in particular. But, he was the last role to cast. And I always knew Jefferson. Jefferson is such an important character. Okay. And I can't tell you why, because it basically would give away the whole story. But we were really waiting for, we wanted a really heavy hitter. And so we were blessed to get Beverly Holloway to join our team as our main casting director, first and foremost. Beverly Holloway, she cast I Can Only Imagine. She's working I Can Only Imagine 2 right now. She works with Kingdom Story a lot. She's responsible for a lot of great faith-based films in their casts, in addition to Christmas films. So I reached out to Beverly's assistant, and at first he was like, she can't take any more projects on right now. And I was like, please, I need her. Lisa Arnold is directing. I think we had just locked Lisa Arnold. She was a huge blessing. She was a producer on God's Not Dead. She's directed a bunch of things. And so that's how you start. You start with the casting director, and they give you some ideas of whom they would recommend, and then you just kind of go through the list together, and then you reach out to their agents and check their availability. And then after you check their availability, you find out, can we afford this person or not? How close can we get to affording this person? But the first thing they have to do is respond to the material. So at the end of the day, You're not going to get someone like Martin Sheen to come do a role that's not going to go anywhere, or help, or it's just not going to happen. So he was actually only the second person that read the script from entirety, from top to bottom. And we had checked his availability and heard that he was available from CAA. And I had called my attorney, because I was like, hey, I need you to do, Jana Kramer, awesome, also part of our cast. She's one of the leads. And I was like, I need you to do Jana's long form contract for me. And I also need you to do Olivia's long form contract for me. And he's like, well, how are things going with Jefferson? Have you found your actor yet? And I was like, well, I have an avail check out on Martin Sheen. I know it's a long shot. And he was like, well, you know that I represented Martin when he was on West Wing. No, blank lawyer. I did not know that. Do you want me to give him a call? Sure. So
Wow.
Everly was working on this side with the agency. He had already responded to material. My attorney calls him, and then he's like, yeah, I love the script. I'm getting ready to get back to him right away. And there you have it. We got Martin Sheen. But then the California fires came, guys, and Martin got evacuated with his wife, Janet. And he lives in Malibu with Emilio and Charlie. They all live in Malibu. And so all those fires happened right in the middle of when he was supposed to arrive into town. So, it was just chaos because, we don't want to bring an actor in who can't do their best because they're just worried about what's going on back home. That's hard, a hard thing. And did it cost some money for us? It did. It did cost us some money. But at the end of the day, I feel it was like the best thing to do just as a human. So we pushed his whole schedule up like 6 days to give him enough time to really make sure that, his area was safe, that he could fly, and breathe healthily and all of those things. So, we were really blessed to get Martin, but that's how it happened. Second actor.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that about the casting director, that's kind of the avenue. Are you a Martin Sheen fan or a Charlie Sheen fan?
I like Emilio too. All of them. Sure. I just love that you're bringing talent into the state of Oklahoma. I think that's really cool. And that's what we love to talk about. Like, we have so many of our audience want to know, like, how do we make film in Oklahoma? What is going on in Oklahoma? How is it affecting our economy? How do we get big talent to Oklahoma? And eventually, at some point, I'd love to hear the whole incentives piece as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think what we really need to focus on here, guys, is like, we need to make a new Hollywood in Oklahoma. No, we don't need to fix what already works well, but we just need to take some advice from what they've done well and figure out how to make it work in our market. I personally don't feel like we're ready in the state of Oklahoma to host ginormous shows of Tulsa King size. Maybe edit that part out. I'm just kidding. That was a great TV show and super happy that they came here. But at the end of the day, we need to build up our local filmmakers as well. And that's always going to start with the script and the producers. The ones that write the film and purchase the script, or if you're the screenwriter and decide you want to be a producer as well, you got the funding on your own. But you want to start with those people and get more people in those levels here in Oklahoma, because those are the ones that we're going to bring up. Like me, I'm from Oklahoma. I lived out in Los Angeles for a period of time, so I understand how this all works out there very, very well. But I don't like it out there, right? There is some truth to the ugliness in Hollywood, a lot of it. I'm not going to say all of it's true, but there's a lot of ugliness. Now, I don't say we make a new Hollywood. I think it's time to make a better Hollywood. And no, the fire should never have happened to anyone. But, you see these people as a result of these disasters calling and being like, well, what is it like to live there? What is it like to make films there? Because there's kind of this urge to get out of Hollywood. And we have great incentives here to be part of that and start welcoming some of these people in and create that happy balance, right? Because when Tulsa King came in, they hired almost all people from out of state, almost all, and almost all their actors. Only local actors are getting like cop number one, where they have like, get back, that's their one line, or these are the roles that we're getting offered as actors in Oklahoma because they don't consider us a big deal. But I wanted to do something that was the best of both worlds. I wanted to do something that was middle of the road budget. I wanted to bring some big hitters in and then balance it out with some of our local hitters and then combine that. And so I literally wrote the script based around that too. So I wrote the script and I have 42 characters in the script. And 18 of those people are actors from Oklahoma. who train in Oklahoma, who have gone out to California, other places. They're very well-trained actors that are doing things. But they have nice, roles that have 2 to 3 pages of dialogue, with names, like we have faces. We want to be seen here. We're doing the work here. We deserve to be seen. But the truth is we can't just do it alone. You don't just wake up and say, hey, I'm going to make a movie. You can't just wake up and be like, well, I think God said that I'm supposed to make a movie. So today I'm going to do that. Okay, well, if you feel that God's pushed you on this planet to make movies, great. That doesn't mean that he doesn't expect you to do the work also to get there. So, I worked for 20 years equipping myself. I worked on sets out in California. I learned from the production office all the way up. I did the grunt work. I made the copies. I did the walking the talent back and forth from trailer to trailer. I worked on the lots. I read script after script, and that's how it worked in Hollywood back in the day before the pandemic. Is they'd put you in an office and they'd give you scripts, and they'd say yes, no, maybe. So I would sit there for hours and just make a yes, no, maybe pile, and then they'd come back in, and then they'd take the yeses, and then they'd say. They throw away the no's, and then they say, this many maybes? Why? And then I'd have to go through that whole pile again and do the process all over again. Hollywood's not easy. It's hard. It's brutal. This industry is very difficult. It's very difficult. And I truly feel like so blessed to say that my first feature film as a producer and screenwriter, I was actually able to do it in my home state. I'm very proud of that.
That is so cool. And I felt that beaming from you on set. And there's so many questions I want to get to, but I really want to go back to, you said being a producer is part of that is raising money. Now, you're in the business of raising money, Tom, and that's what you do. I am always hesitant. I'm scared to talk about money. And I have a lot of creatives reach out to me asking me, hey, I've got this project. Do you know anyone with money? And I just don't know how to give them any advice. So how do you guys deal with that when it comes to how do you ask for money? And maybe what does someone look for when they give money?
Erin, you want to go first? Or you want me to go?
No, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Maybe I'll learn something from you.
Well, I've only really tried in the state of Oklahoma, and it is difficult. And I think the difficult part, everybody wants to be a part of the movie. So that's exciting. That's how you reel somebody in. However, it's showing them that here's how you can get a return. And here's the risk associated with it. Because that is I think your average businessman or woman is going to say, love the idea, sounds cool, want to be part of the film community, but I don't want to lose money. How do you guarantee through theatrical releases or distribution? How are you going to make this money up? And then everything goes down to budget as well. So you can make a great movie for maybe $300,000 and then make $400,000. But if that budget's not $300,000, it's $3 million. Well, you're going to lose money. So I'm not saying that is the norm, by the way. I'm just saying that is the fear. Erin, what do you think?
No, and it actually is a norm, Tom. I mean, the film industry, it very rarely do people make money on films. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to anyone. I want people in Oklahoma to invest in films. I do. But I also want them to do it with the right people. And I think that there are some people that like to fake it till they make it. This is not a fake it till you make it business. We're dealing with millions of people's dollars. These people have families, right? And there is a risk. There's a huge risk of loss. But I have to, and that's why I brought in Adam. Adam has produced some things, Adam Ropp locally. He's been the mayor-elect of Guthrie. He's been a producer locally for a long time. He's done a lot of Lifetime things and everything like that. But I searched really long and hard for the person that I was going to bring on my team as a co-producer because, again, I don't want to lose our financiers' money, right? So when I went in, I had to put together a whole pitch deck, explain, the caveats. This is a worst possible scenario. We could lose all of it. Here's the best possible scenario, but I have to do as much as possible with Adam to mitigate risk, right? In a risky industry. I'm just going to say it. It's risky to make a movie with no names in it. It's not my rule. I didn't make that rule. And I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do about it or anyone else in this state. So when people get excited about the names coming in, there's a reason for that. There's money with that, and that's going to help our financiers get their money back. If I go to a distributor like Sony and say I have Martin Sheen, oh, well, suddenly that's something. But if I say I have Joshua, whatever they don't care. They just don't. And I'm sorry that it is that way, but it just is that way. So whenever we went about, raising money for this, I mean, we did it in a way that we wanted to make certain that we had the quality of actors, and we weren't going to actually go through with this if I didn't have someone like a Martin Sheen booked. So literally up until 2 weeks before we were filming, Adam and I were like freaking out because our financing came late. And so we were last minute casting everything. So the cast that we have, we only went through at maximum one other actor before them for all the main roles, like Jana, Olivia, Noah, all of those. And I just totally lost my train of thought. Sorry, I got lost in a Martin thought.
No, well, you know what, though? What I think about with the state of Oklahoma, though, at least you're making that step. We're going to have to take baby steps to get to where we want to go, where we have a fully functioning ecosystem of film here with the actors and the setup and being able to get, to your good point, funding for these. And so we need names here as well. I don't think it's a bad deal to bring in big names as long as you're filming in Oklahoma and the majority of the money is going to the state of Oklahoma and things are happening here. I think it's okay, especially in the next 5 to 10 years as Oklahoma is making a name for themselves. So I think you're right. And I don't think there's anything too negative about that.
Yeah. And Erin, you were kind of talking about the process of raising money. And I want to add that next question that I know so many people have, even myself, is to understand the incentives and the rebates. So once you raise your money, how did you work with the state for the incentive program and the Film in Oklahoma Act?
Yeah, absolutely. We have such a great program here, and I know we're still trying to figure that out and what would best work, moving forward. We know we're getting ready to have a vote come up to raise the cap to 80 million. If anyone's watching this, I just want you to know that cap is helping people like me stay here and work here. Okay. As a producer and screenwriter, I have 5 other scripts in the works. Martin had Adam and I on the phone with Emilio. He has some projects that he's pitched us. Okay. I don't want to get anyone too excited, but I just want to say things are happening and working. But as far as the Oklahoma Film and Music Office, we always knew that we were going to try to utilize that. And I have written down here because it is pretty tedious. It's a tedious process, you guys. So, really the Oklahoma Film and Music Office, it's a huge application. It's a pre-qualification. So you have to go in and you have to fill out a whole pre-qualification thing. And it takes days. Like you have to put in every single number, like names of every single vendor you're going to be using, names, even if you don't have names of talent, that's okay. But anything that you've already selected, they want to know everything down to the penny. So you have to submit for that. And you're going to get a 20% base back, right? If you pre-qualify. Now, I've heard that a lot of people don't pre-qualify the first time. We were blessed. We did pre-qualify, and we pre-qualified for the entire amount possible at the 30% maximum. So I'll just kind of go through this really quickly, just so you guys know for generalities for the public. You get that 20% back. Now, that's not money in our pocket yet. We haven't been paid that money yet. We also got pre-qualified for 3% additional. So now we're up to 23%, that 3% being for rural. We filmed in locations with less than 250,000 people. The municipality, that's 2%. So for that, for example, I can't remember the exact number on that, but Guthrie fell under that. So, Enid is our rural. So we got the 3% for that. And then we shot 25% of the time in Guthrie, which gave us 2% municipality uptick. Then you have a 2 to 5% TV uptick, which we're not TV, so that doesn't matter. A 5% soundstage back. So if you film 25% of your film on a soundstage in Oklahoma, which we have quite a few. We have Filmmakers Ranch, was a wonderful studio. The Cherokee Commission, they have a beautiful studio. They're building one in Bartlesville. We have a bunch of sound stages. And the goal behind that is really, if we have sound stages, maybe we can attract more TV shows, which we haven't been quite as successful as that yet. But hopefully with Fairwood coming back and with Ethan and Sterling and their shows, maybe we'll start to see that happen some more. And hopefully with the passing of the 50 million more, right? And then you have 2 to 5% back if you have a multi-film deal. So if I had the 1, 2 and the 1, 2, 3, I could have gotten up to 5%, but we didn't. We also qualified for 3% for post-production. So we're using local musicians, and there's a certain percentage that we have to use post-production service. So that includes our editor, born and raised Oklahoma, composer, born and raised Oklahoma, sound people are in Tulsa. So all of those things we have to put in originally just to pre-qualify. And then they send you a letter saying you've pre-qualified for this amount. Okay, yay. So I have this much money. Great. That doesn't actually exist. Now you have to take that money that I'm going to get later, and you have to go seek out a loan for that. Now, that could be a personal loan. Most of the time in film, you're going to have to get a bond with that. And really, it's 98% of the time, movies are bonded, And I wish I could tell you more about that process, but I was so blessed that I had someone, and Adam and I had someone that literally just helped co-sign on a loan for us, so that instead of paying 25%, we only had to pay the 7% interest rate. So we were so blessed. So now that loan gets paid back first, right? So once the rebate comes back, right now we're in post-production. So like my editor has all the footage, the sound guys are getting ready. Maggie McClure, our local music supervisor from the Imaginaries, who also has, a song, they're playing in this and they're in this as well.
They retweeted the episode. Thank you.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing. So we love them so much. So now all of these guys, they're doing their separate part to kind of bring this all together behind the scenes. Once we have that product ready and we're done spending money on anything other than marketing and things like that, we fill out the final letter and all the application again, send it back to Oklahoma Film and Music Office. They audit us via our accountant and make sure that we're not lying anywhere. So when I'm telling you guys, this money is tracked, it is trash.
Banking, you guys, this is
and it should be. Who do you use for bonding? Do you know who you use?
So I didn't use anyone. No. So
you didn't use anybody for bonding. Oh, okay.
No. I ended up getting a individual co-sign on a joint loan.
Individual. Gotcha. Okay. Understood. And then do you know of any financial institutions within the state of Oklahoma? And I might mention one who's looking into it. Do you know of any financial institutions in the state of Oklahoma that are offering those type of financing?
I have had some people refer a couple to me. I can't speak on them personally yet, though. I did have someone pitch me out in California through a family member. And I think that they do that out there with other rebate programs. And I would prefer that we have some of them kind of here locally doing that. So again, our money and our interest isn't going back out to California. So I would love to hear more about that. If you have companies, you should let me know, because I would love to help support and promote that. The problem is that they're charging too much. Right? Like, it's so hard. Like California, the company that I was trying to work, there was going to be like 26%, that's a lot of money. So
that is.
Yeah. But yeah, so, it is risky, to do it. It is risky because I am so down to, I'm very particular about my numbers. I'm OCD about it. But if you have someone that's not OCD about it and not overly, they don't get it, right? And they don't do a great job. What happens at the end? And they're like, oh, well, you only proved this. So instead of getting $500,000 back, you're only getting $250,000 back. That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. So that's why it's risky, right? And that's why I was also blessed to have someone that was like, hey, I see your formula. It's worked well in the past in independent film, like the certain range that we have with a certain type of talent that we have, and also the genre, right? I don't want to make genre films. I didn't really make a genre film. It kind of falls into all sorts of genres because you've got faith and you've got Christmas, but you also have inspirational drama and hope there. But a lot of people it's like, oh, well, horror movies do great. So they're an easy sell. You'll always make your money back. Well, that's also the reason why we see a lot of the same crappy TV, right, guys? Because the big guys up top are like, oh, we don't want to buy the inspirational, hopeful stories that actually have something to say about humanity. We want to sell the stuff that's, going to make us money back at all costs. Yep. We were blessed again to, I found a financier in person. It was all serendipitous again, but I was blessed in that I wrote 3 screenplays and someone introduced me to Kyle, the owner of the Christ Tree. And through that, we became friends. And then I wrote the screenplay around his Christmas tree, the Christ tree, and Enid. So the one was the thing that I took and wrote the entire story around that. So it was different. Whereas like I have my first screenplay where I sat down and I spent 2 years crafting all these characters from top to bottom, and kind of like letting them figure out how to tell the story. In this case, I already had set locations, right? Because he had already allowed us access to the tree, all of these things. So that was amazing. It was constraining from a writer's perspective. But from a producer's perspective, it was great because it was like a made to order film.
Yeah.
Erin,
I got to say, you are a powerhouse. In my industry, I'm a triple threat. I can sing, act, dance. You're like a quadruple threat because you could do numbers. So I'm like, wow, I bet you can sing. I bet you can dance. You certainly can act, but you can do numbers. So I bow to you in that. That's admirable and awesome. And I see you leading workshops on this in the future because someone with my brain will need someone with your brain to help break down these things. And I'm sure so many of our viewers will need this process broken down. Real quickly, I really want to touch on, you didn't get to meet him, Tom, but he is so lovely. Sam Baldoni. Yeah. And I know he's a friend of yours, but when Lacey and I were filming this interview, it's like we had like a 20-minute spot with him. He was so interesting. Yeah. He's a legend as a producer. I mean, some of the stuff he has done in his career was unbelievable. And I have to mention two things because I realized later he's the father of Justin Baldoni, which I don't know if you've seen It Ends With Us. Great movie. And there's a whole Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni. I'm Team Justin, by the way. Sorry, but I am.
Hold on a second. You can keep asking the questions, but I will tell you that I call Sam my godfather, not because God chose him for me, but because he took me under his wing 25 years ago. Oh, and he's been in my life, and the Baldonis have been in my life ever since then. Sam is an amazing person. His wife is an amazing person, and I'm just going to say it right now. Can you guys read this?
Okay.
Yes.
Nobody puts baby in the basement.
Nobody puts baby in the basement.
Justice for Justin. Have you seen It Ends With Us yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'll give you the lowdown on that after. But that blew me away after, because I followed Sam on Instagram. I was like, oh my gosh, he's related to Justin. Now it makes sense. But the point to our conversation today is he had so many great things to say about Oklahoma. He was blown away. He's like, you guys are not just flatlands. He was blown away. And that's what we want. We want big, heavy hitters like him who've produced movies, television shows. Like, he's like an inventor for the past, 40 years, to come to Oklahoma and be like, damn, this is good industry.
Yeah, it's been really amazing. Like when I called Sam almost 3 years ago, I said, okay, I got another one for you. Because every time I do something, like, all right, I need your opinion. And he doesn't let me get away with being mediocre at all. It doesn't matter. Like, Sam is going to tell me exactly what it is. And so when I called him to read this, he's like, it's not ready. Fine, I'll go back. Throughout the past 3 years, let me tell you that Steve Sarowitz, Wayfair, and their entire company, without giving me any money, without asking me to put their name anywhere, volunteered up their WGA writers, their directors, their producers to have Zoom meetings with me, to go over my scripts, to help me make it the best it could be, recommending people that it would possibly be good for roles. And they never handed me anything, but they certainly encouraged me all along the way and gave me all of these tools and free knowledge and free education just out of the kindness and goodness of their hearts, because they make the kind of films that I make, and we both want to continue making films that are going to inspire change, hope, better humanity, or more humanity and unity and love. Like, at the end of the day, there's so much darkness out there. And it's like online, the amount of bullying that's going on. I hate to see the amount of bullying that's going on under the situation that we just talked about right now. Mm-hmm. I would never, ever want to take away from someone's feelings. So we'll let this go, and we'll let this see how all of that plays out, because I know Justin wouldn't want us to do that either.
Sure.
He just wants to speak positively of everything. And that's how we're going to keep doing this moving forward, speaking love, speaking positivity, and just keep trying to make change with art, because
absolutely
no one's making millions except for the studios right now, guys, on films. So if I'm going to make films that are going to make just a little bit of money and not 300 million or whatever, we're going to make some stuff that's going to really affect people.
But you're bringing people's attention to, now people are going to know about the Christ tree in Enid. Have you been to the Christ tree in Enid yet?
Yeah.
I have not been yet during the holidays, I will admit.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is the tallest tree in the US. It once was real, right? And then they changed it to, it's a metal structure. Explain what the Christ tree is.
Yeah. So Kyle Williams and his family, they've lived out in Enid forever. They're kind of a little legacy in their own little town there. He owns the Jiffy Trips and some other things. Great, beautiful family. But they started the one Christ tree. Really, it was just, as an example of Christ, because Christmas is Christmas. It's not Xmas, it's Christmas. And so they really just wanted to put something up that represented the one that we as Christians believe gave his life for us, right? But we're not here for a sermon. Just so the first 2 years it was real. They went all the way out to California and they had to bring it in sections on trucks, right? To my knowledge, I believe it cost $500,000 just to make the real tree get here, let alone hoisting it up, putting all the lights on it, everything like that. So I think it was it the second year that the tree, I don't remember if it was the first or second, one of the first or the second year, the top of the tree in a big windstorm. Well, they were able to fix it and hoist it back up. But I think after that, they realized, well, it's Oklahoma, the wind, California, they didn't really love that we were picking a tree out there. And I understand that to a degree, but we're not, again, going to get into a political or eco conversation outside of 7 beautiful ecosystems in Oklahoma. So now the tree, they take it and they have these cranes, and it's a metal structure. And, Senator Langford comes out to help decorate. The governor's wife comes out to help decorate. But there's these big panels that you literally just lay down, and we decorate them every year, or we did decorate them every year. Now they're kind of pre-decorated, and then we just add more starting, last year. And then we put them on, and then it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. And the star itself at the top, that star alone is 7 feet tall. Just the star.
Yes.
How tall is the tree? Is it 70 feet?
It's 100. I think this year was 132. It's been anywhere between 120 and 140 varies, over the past 4 years. So,
well, it's a beautiful structure from, I saw it being broken down, but obviously our viewers can go online and see it. And when it gets back up around the holidays, but now your movie is going to bring people to Enid, as it's a tourist attraction too. Now they're going to know about it.
Well, I certainly hope so.
It.
Yeah, they'll know the story behind it. They'll want to come see it in its majesty in person. We can watch it on TV all day long, but I'm telling you, the first time I saw the tree light up and I was there in that moment, it was really magical. So yeah, I think this is really going to help, bring people to Enid and the one, and really just Oklahoma in general. There are a lot of Oklahoma landmarks, that's one of the things that they ask you when you're filling out the rebate. Like, are you using an Oklahoma national landmark? So the Christ tree is now one. Adams train station, for example, technically it's a historical landmark. So
Guthrie.
All of this was shot in Oklahoma with the exception of the opening. And that's literally just some stock footage of the Chicago downtown skyline where Hawk starts his journey. Everything else was done in Oklahoma. We had 97 crew members from Oklahoma.
Erin, when can our viewers watch The One? When is it? I know it's going to be a while, but.
Well, yeah, the goal is right now, everyone's working very hard to have it out November this year. That's the goal.
Okay.
We really want to have it out by November. And I think that that's very feasible. I think it is feasible. So if for some reason, something crazy happens, maybe November of next year, but we're not going to say that. We're just going to say you're going to see it this year.
Well, please let us know, and we'll keep sharing the updates, and hopefully we can come if there's a premiere. We would love to help promote the premiere and be there and just continue to support this.
No, absolutely. We would love to have you. I was actually going to tell you that. Yes, you all are invited to the private premiere here in Oklahoma. Please come. Yes. And yes, we're excited to keep having people from out of state come in and see what a wonderful place it is to film. So, I think, guys, this The One has really set us up for like many projects here. So we're excited.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on all that hard work. It's a lot of hard work besides the creative process. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing film to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
No,
Absolutely.
thank you guys so much for everything that you do. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks,
Have a
Erin.
good day. Bye.